Hello, you guys. My name is Ivan, and today, hold on. And today, guys, we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Okay, so remember how I said we were gonna be reading Fnaf books? I was gonna be reading the Fnaf books to you guys. Well, we are going to be starting that as of right now. They're not that long. I know I said I wanted to do them to the summer, but I just couldn't wait. I have to read the books. I have to read the books. You know. So the first one that we're going to be reading, guys, is a very famous one. Guys, drum roll, please. Today, our first book that we're going to be reading is called Five Nights at Freddy's, Fazbear'S Fright Into the Pit by Scott Cawthon. So, this one is very, very interesting. It's very, very popular, as you can tell. This one's by Scott Cawthon. It looks very, very good. It's going to be very, very creepy, too. So, as you can tell from the #1 New York Times best-selling author. Yep, he is the best author. So this is the first Fazbear's Frights one. So there's Spring Bonnie. He's in a ball pit. And it looks really scary. So let's go ahead and read the back. I'm gonna go ahead and read the back to you guys real quick. Five Nights at Freddy's fans will want to miss this pulse-pounding collection of 3 novella-length tales that will keep even the bravest player up at night. What do you wish for most? It's a question that Oswald, Sarah, and Millie think they know the answer to. Oswald wishes his summer wasn't so boring. Sarah wishes to be beautiful, and Millie wishes she could just appear from the face of the earth. But in the twisted world of Five Nights at Freddy's, their heart's deepest desires have an unexpected cost. In this volume, Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon spins 3 sinister novella-length stories from different corners of his series. Canon, obviously, meaning official. Each book comes complete with cover artwork from fan favorite game artist Lazy Fizzy, who brings a horror to life in startling new ways. Readers beware, this collection of terrifying tales is enough to unsettle even the most hardened Five Nights at Freddy's fans. If you guys can see there. You guys can pause if you guys want to read it too. Looks very, very cool. These at the end we're going to be reading. We're going to read Fetch next, guys. This is Fetch. This is the next story that we're going to read. I've heard that one is really interesting too. So that's that, and yeah, so Ellie Cooper must be... Who is Ellie Cooper? Let's see, does this say anywhere? Ellie Cooper. I'm just going to assume that that's the author. Or Scott Cawthon author, I don't know. Anyway, enough of that being said. Really interesting book. We're gonna read maybe about. I want to try to see if we can finish chapter 1 today, and then maybe tomorrow we can finish chapter 2. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start, guys. So, first page. Fazbear'S Fright #1 Into the Pit. This is what it looks like, by the way, guys. If I could just zoom out. Yeah. That's what it looks like on the inside. Really awesome, right? Yeah. It's the jump scare. It's the jump scare static. If you guys aren't familiar with Fnaf, if you guys are familiar with Fnaf, you guys should know what all this is, it's a static after you get jump scared. Yeah. For those Fnaf fans out there, by the way. Yeah. And now, here we go, entering the story, Into the Pit. All right, here we go. Hang on, see if I can get a good position here. The dead possum's still here. Oswald was looking out the passenger window at the gray, furry corpse on the side of the road. So what do you guys think happened there, guys? Let me just read that again. Oswald was looking out the passenger window at the gray, furry corpse on the side of the road. So probably Freddy Fazbear. Somebody got stuffed into a Freddy Fazbear suit. Kid probably. And they just left him on the road. That's what we're assuming, right? Let's keep reading. Somehow it looked even deader than it had yesterday, which means it's been rotting out there for quite a while, which is very disgusting. Last night's rain had helped. Nothing looks deader than a dead possum, Oswald's dad said. So, oh, okay, so it's just a possum, guys. It's just a possum. Nobody got. Okay, it was just a possum. Anyway. Except this town, Oswald mumbled, looking at the boarded-up storefronts and the display windows, which were displaying nothing but dust. What's that? Dad said. He was already wearing the stupid red vest they put him in when he worked the deli counter at the snack space. Oswald wished he'd wait to put it on until after he dropped him at school. This town, Oswald said, laughter this time. This town looks deader than a dead possum. His dad laughed. Well, I don't guess I can argue with that. 3 years ago, when Oswald was 7, there had actually been stuff to do here. A movie theater, a game in a card store, in an ice cream shop with amazing waffle cones. But then the mill had closed. The mill had basically been the reason the town existed. Oswald's dad had lost his job, and so had hundreds of other kids. Moms and dads. Lots of families had moved away, including Oswald's best friend, Ben, and his family. So they're basically introducing everybody right now. We're gonna get. I know you guys are excited to see Spring Bonnie and all of that, and kids going missing into the suits. I know we're not there yet. We literally just started the story, so just hang on, guys. We're gonna get there. Probably not this video, but the next one. We'll see. Oswald's family had stayed because his mom's job at the hospital was ready, and they didn't want to move far away from Grandma. So Dad ended up with a part-time job at the snack space, which paid $5 an hour, less than he'd made at the mill. And Oswald watched the town die. So stuff has been happening, guys, through the years here. One business after another shut down, like the organs in a dying body, because nobody had the money for movies or games or amazing waffle cones anymore. Are you excited it's the last day of school? Dad asked. It was one of those questions adults always asked. Like, how was your day? Did you brush your teeth? Oswald shrugged. I guess, but there's nothing to do with Ben gone. School's boring, but home's boring too. When I was 10, I wasn't home in the summer until I got in for supper, Dad said. I rode my bike and played baseball and got into all kinds of trouble, Oswald said. No, I'm not saying you should have fun. Dad pulled into the drop-off line in front of Westbrook Elementary. So that's the school that our Oswald went to. Have fun. Made it sound so easy. Oswald walked through the school's double doors and ran smack into Dylan Cooper, the last person he wanted to see. So basically a bully, because we know that there's bullies in the story, right? There's bullies, the bite of I think it was the bite of 83, right? Bite of 87? No, bite of 83. Anyway, it was one of them. So, and here we have our bully, Dylan Cooper. Oswald was apparently the first person Dylan wanted to see, though, because his mouth spread in a wide grin. Dylan was the tallest kid in 5th grade and clearly enjoyed looming over his victims. Well, if it isn't the Oswald... Well, sorry, guys. Well, if it isn't Oswald the Ocelot, he said, his grin spreading impossibly wider. That one never gets old, does it? Oswald walked past Dylan and was relieved when his tormentor chose not to follow him. When Oswald and his 5th grade classmates were preschoolers, there was a cartoon on one of the little kid channels, a big pink ocelot named Oswald. As a result, Dylan and his friend had started calling him Oswald the Ocelot on the first day of kindergarten and had never stopped. Dylan was the kind of kid who'd pick on anything that made you different. If it hadn't been Oswald... Oops. Sorry about that, guys. My thing turned off. Where did I leave off? If it hadn't been Oswald's name, it would have been his Freckles or his Cowlick. The name-calling had gotten much worse this year in U.S. history when they'd learned that the man who shot John F. Kennedy was named Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald would rather be an ocelot than an assassin. Since it was the last day of school, there was no attempt at doing any kind of real work. Miss Mitchum had announced the day before that students were allowed to bring their electronics as long as they took responsibility for anything getting lost or broken. This announcement meant that no effort would be made toward any educational activities of any kind. Oswald didn't have any modern electronics. True, there was no laptop at home, but the whole family shared it, and he wasn't allowed to bring it to school. He had a phone, but it was the saddest, most out-of-date model imaginable. And he didn't want to take it out of his pocket because he knew any kid who saw it would make fun of how pathetic it was. So while other kids played games on their tablets or handheld consoles, Oswald sat. So basically saying, the bullies were basically, he's got a rough childhood, basically. He's always getting bullied and everything, and it's just terrible. It was. So while other kids played games on their tablets or handheld consoles, Oswald sat. After just sitting it became intolerable, he took out a notebook and pencil and started to draw. He wasn't the best artist in the world, but he could draw well enough that his images were identifiable. And there was a certain cartoony quality about his drawings that he liked. The best thing about drawing, though, was that he could get lost in it. It was like he fell into the paper and became part of the scene he was creating. It was a welcome escape. He didn't know why, but lately he had been drawing mechanical animals, bears, bunnies, and birds. Okay, guys, so we're starting to get into there. So now we're starting to see what this kid likes. So, he likes, I'm guessing he likes, Fred Bear or Freddy, he likes Chica, he likes Bonnie. That's basically what it's symbolizing here. I know it's not what he probably is saying, but anyway, let's keep reading. That probably is what he's saying, but you guys are starting to get the image now, right? Yeah. They were furry on the outside, but the fur covered a hard metal skeleton filled with gears and circuits. Sometimes he drew the animals' exposed metal skeletons or sketched them with the fur peeled back to show some of the mechanical workings underneath. It was a creepy effect, like seeing a person's skull peeking out from beneath the skin. Oswald was so immersed in his drawings that he was startled when Miss McKem turned off the lights to show a movie. Movies always seems like a teacher's final act of desperation on the day before break. A way to keep the kids quiet and relatively still for an hour and a half before setting them loose for the summer. The movie Miss McKem chose was in Oswald's option. Too babyish for a room, chose was in Oswald's opinion. Too babyish for a room full of fifth graders. It's about a farm with talking animals, and he had watched it before, but he watched it again because really, what else did he have to do? At recess, kids stood around tossing a ball back and forth and talking about what they were going to do over the summer. I'm going to football camp. I'm going to basketball camp. I'm going to hang out at my neighborhood pool. I'm going to stay out with my parents in Florida. Oswald sat on a bench and listened. For him, there would be no camps and no pool memberships and no trips because there was no money. And so he'd draw pictures, play his old video games that he already beaten 1,000 times, and maybe go to the library. If Ben were still here, it would be different. Even if they were just doing the same old stuff, they'd be doing it together. And Ben could always make Oswald laugh, riffing on video game characters or doing a perfect impersonation of one of the teachers. He and Ben had fun no matter what they did, but now a summer without Ben yawned before him, wide and empty. Most days, Oswald's mom worked from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m., so his dad had to make dinner. Usually they got by on frozen meals like lasagna or chicken pot pie, or on cold cuts in potato salad from the snack space deli that are still good enough to eat but not good enough to sell. When Dad did cook, it was usually things that just required boiling water. While Dad got their dinner ready, Oswald's job was to feed Jinx, their very spoiled black cat. Oswald often thought that he used about the same amount of cooking still in opening Jinx's can of stinky cat food as his dad used in his dinner preparations. Tonight, Oswald and Dad were sitting down to plates of blue box mac and cheese and some canned corn his dad had zapped in the microwave. It was a very yellow meal. You know, I was thinking, Dad said, squirting ketchup onto his macaroni and cheese. Why did he do that? Oswald wondered. I know you're old enough to stay home by yourself some, but I don't like the idea of you staying by yourself the whole day while your mom and I are at work. I was thinking you could ride into town with me in the mornings and I could drop you off at the library. You could read, surf the net. Oswald couldn't let this one slide. How out of date could his dad be? Nobody says surf the net anymore, Dad. They do now because I just said it. Dad forked up some macaroni. Anyway, I thought you could hang out in the library in the mornings when you get hungry. You could head over to Jeff's Pizza for a slice and a soda. I could pick you up there once my shift's over at 3. Oswald considered for a moment. Just Pizza was kind of weird. It wasn't dirty exactly, but it was run down. The vinyl on the booth seats had been prepared with duct tape, and the plastic letters had fallen off the menu board above the counter. So the listed toppings included pepperon, and emerger. It was clear that Just Pizza used to be something bigger and better than it now was. There are tons of unused floor space and lots of unused electrical outlets along the base of the walls. Also, on the far wall was a small stage. Even though there were no performances there, not even so much as a karaoke night. It was a strange place, sad and not what it had once been, like the rest of the town. That being said, the pizza was decent, and more important, it was the only pizza in town if you couldn't count the kind from the frozen food department at the snack space. Sorry if I'm stuttering. Guys, that. The few good restaurants in town, including Gino's Pizza and Marco's Pizza, which, unlike Jeff's, had real pizza maker names, had closed their doors not long after the mill had. So you give me the money for pizza? Oswald asked, since Dad's job loss. Oswald's allowance had dwindled to particularly nothing. Dad smiled, a kind of sad smile, it seemed to Oswald. Son, we're bad off, but we're not so bad off I can spot you $3.50 for a slice and a soda. So, what do you guys think is happening so far? You guys can type in what you guys are theorizing for this so far. What do you guys think is happening so far? So, we obviously know they're in a pizzeria for sure. They're definitely in a pizzeria where there's animatronics that are supposed to be on stage. But we haven't really gotten to that part yet. See, where did I leave off? I forgot where I left off. Was I even on this page? Okay, so okay. Alright, so we're on the next page. Okay, Oswald said. It was hard to say no to a warm, gooey cheese slice. Since it wasn't a school night and wouldn't be again for quite some time, Oswald stayed up after Dad went to bed and watched an old Japanese monster movie, with Jinx curled up purring on his lap. Oswald had seen a lot of B-grade Japanese horror films, but this one, Zendrelix versus, I can't even say that word, Mecha Zendrelix, was new to him. As always, Zendrelix just looked like a giant dragon thing, but Mecha Zendrelix reminded him of mechanical animals he drew when he stripped them off of their fur. He laughed at the movie's special effects. The train Zendrelix destroyed was clearly a toy, and at how the actors' lip movements didn't match the dubbed in English. Somehow, though, he always found himself rooting for Zendrelix. Even though he was just a guy in a rubber suit, somehow he managed to have a lot of personality. In bed, he tried to count his blessings. He didn't have Ben, but he had monster movies in the library and lunchtime pizza slices. It was better than nothing, but it still wasn't going to be enough to keep him going all summer. Please, he wished, his eyes closed tight. Please let something interesting happen. Oswald woke to the smell of coffee and bacon. The coffee he could do without, but the bacon smelled amazing. Breakfast meant time with his mom, often the only time he got with her until the weekend. After one necessary stop, he hurried down the hall to the kitchen. Well, look at that! My rising sixth grader has risen. Mom was standing over the stove in her fuzzy pink bathrobe. Her blondie hair pulled back in a ponytail, flipping, oh yum, were those pancakes. Hi, Mom. She opened her arms. I demand a morning hug. Oswald sighed like it annoyed him. But he went over and hugged her. It was funny, with Dad. With Dad, he always said he was too old for hugs, but he never turned down his mom's open arms. Maybe it was because he didn't get to spend much time with her during the week. Well, he and Dad spent so much time together, they sometimes got on each other's nerves. He knew Mom missed him and felt bad for having to work such long hours. But he also knew that since Dad's job at the snack space was just part-time, Mom's long hours were most of the reason the bills were getting paid. Mom always said that the adult life was a fighting between time and money. The more money you earned to spend on bills and necessities, the less time you got to spend with your family. It was a difficult balance. Oswald sat down at the kitchen table and thanked his mom when she poured his orange juice. So, interesting, right? So we're getting introduced to the family and everything, and he really likes that pizzeria, and watching this horror movie reminded him of his drawings, which is very interesting. So, is there even chapters to this or no? Let me see. Is there any chapters? Hang on, guys. Let me just check. Let me just see if there's any chapters to this. Alright, so I don't think there's going to be any chapters to this, guys, so let's just keep on going. Alright, so we're on this page now, right? Did we just finish the last one? I think we did, right? Alright. Yes, we did. Okay, so we're going to do these 2 pages and then the next 2, and then we're going to call it quits there for this video. We'll read some more in the next video. First day of summer break, huh? Mom went back to the stove to scoop up a pancake with her spatula. Uh-huh. He probably should have tried to sound more enthusiastic, but he couldn't muster the energy. She slid the pancake onto his plate and then served him 2 strips of bacon. Not the same without Ben, huh? He shook his head. He wasn't going to cry. Mom ruffled his hair. I know, it's a bummer. But hey, maybe a new friend will move to town. Oswald looked at her hopeful face. Why would anybody move here? Okay, I see your point, Mom said, piling on another pancake. But you never know, or maybe somebody cool already lives here. Somebody you don't even know yet. Maybe, but I doubt it, Oswald said. These pancakes are great, though. Mom smiled and ruffled his hair again. Well, I've got that going for me anyway. Do you want more bacon? If you do, you'd better grab it before your dad gets in here and vacuums it all up. Sure. It was Oswald's personal policy never to refuse more bacon. The library was actually kind of fun. He found the latest book in a science fiction series he liked and a magna that looked interesting. As always, he had to wait forever to use the computers because they were all taken by people who looked like they had no place else to be. Men with scraggly beards wearing layers of ratty clothing. Too thin women with sad eyes and bad teeth. He waited his turn politely, knowing that some of these people used the library for shelter during the day, then spent the night on the trees. Jeff's pizza was as weird as he remembered. The big empty space beyond the booths and tables was like a dance floor where nobody danced. The walls were painted a pale yellow, but they must have used cheap paint or only one coat, because shapes of whatever had been on the walls before were still visible. It had probably been some kind of mural with people or animals, but now it was just shadows behind a thin veil of yellow paint. Oswald sometimes tried to figure out what the shapes were, but they were too blobby to make out. Then there was a stage that never got used, standing empty but seemingly waiting for something. The feature even weirder than the stage lay in the back right corner. It was a large rectangular pen surrounded by yellow netting, but it had been roped off with a sign that said, "Do not use." The pen itself was filled with red, blue, and green plastic balls that had probably been brightly colored once, but were now faded and fuzzy with dust. So very interesting, right? So they talk about yellow and everything. What do you guys think the yellow is, right? The paint that they put on the animatronic, right, as Spring Bonnie, right? It's got to be Spring Bonnie, right? You guys can theorize anything that you want in the comments down below. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get a sticky because we are going to end it right there, guys. That's where we're going to end it. So theorize all you want in the comments down below. I will be seeing your guys' responses. Next time we'll be reading will most likely be Sunday because I want to try to do some more. Well, maybe it'll be Saturday or something. Maybe at the end of Saturday we can read some more. We'll see. But that's where we're gonna go ahead and end it. This is where we're going to pick off. Let me just get a pencil real quick. Hold on. Let me just write it. Okay. So Theorize, I will be seeing your guys' comments on what you guys think is happening so far. Really interesting though so far, right, guys? It's really interesting. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the story so far, and I want you guys to just really just theorize about what's going on so far, and let me know what you guys are thinking, because I would love to know, because it's a really interesting story. This was Into the Pit. This is part 1. It doesn't look like there's any chapters to this. Yeah, there's definitely not any chapters to this. So we've read quite a few pages today. Very interesting. But yeah, this was Into the Pit by Scott Coffin. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is part 1. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys please hit that subscribe button. This is my I'm gonna call this Fnaf story time. I might make a playlist about this. I don't know, but I want to make that. I don't want to make that many playlists because there are tons, dozens upon dozens of Fnaf books. So I'm probably not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna do videos. I'm not gonna put them into a playlist. They're just gonna be videos. All right. But anyways, hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, make sure you guys please hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so, and that like button as well, and hit that post notification bell so that way you guys will get notified whenever I upload videos. And as always, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye bye, guys.